Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Casting Angles with the man himself, Mac Brown. Mac, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Marvin?
Just trying to stay out of trouble. You literally are traveling Mac. You were up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time, and literally have only been back from Bellevue for probably less than 4 hours, right?
That's right. Yeah, we got an early flight and got back home right in time for my son to pick me up from UNCA. And he got me back here about 4:30.
Well, there you go. And, we can talk about the show in a minute, but you got a break between Denver and Bellevue. You actually got a chance to do a little bit of spey casting for steelhead, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Got to play with that for 3 days, and it was a lot of fun just getting out there. And, we teach that a lot with lessons through the year, but to get to actually fish, it's a little, there was some things because we're doing it on the grass a lot of the times in a lesson. Of course, when you start holding 50, 60 feet of line that you're going to shoot in your fingers and how you're going to implement all that, it was fun. It made me work through a bunch of little things real quick because that's not what we do on the grass,
Yeah, the interesting thing too is, and I remember fishing with Jeb Hall at Davidson River Outfitters is that, you can take those two-handed casts and apply them on a single-handed normal fly rod. You don't even have to do trout spey.
That's right. Yeah, all the similar setup moves and delivery. Of course, if somebody likes, roll casting, basically everything, the roll cast kind of the get out of jail free card in fly casting. I think that's what keeps, a lot of people from trying it. They go, my roll cast isn't really, as good as their overhead, which is, it's not that way for anybody. So the roll cast, yeah, they got to work at the roll cast a little bit more than an overhead cast. But once they have a roll cast, it makes it really free to break free where everything's a set up, deliver. It makes it pretty rewarding.
Yeah, and the great thing is, there are all these situations, particularly in our part of the world, where the water's tight, right? And, having more than just kind of the traditional roll cast that we know about and putting those two-handed casts in your repertoire just with your 9'5" weight, it opens up a lot more avenues for presentation.
Yeah, it does. Even on small park stream water. Yeah, a lot of the way the pools are designed with overhanging trees, you can, a lot of the pools, like even up on the Davidson or here where I live on Deep Creek, you get these pools that are 60, 70 feet from where it tails out, So if you want to sit down at the bottom and cover stuff up there, it's not little short casts like people think. People think I'm going to Appalachian, it's little short water. No, it's big casting. I mean, when you think about it, to sit down there at the bottom and put stuff up at the head of it. You know how a lot of it will go river left or river right, all the current. And a lot of times that's the best way to fish that kind of water coming out of winter. Because you get a lot longer float. You're going to pick out the best prime lie. Big fish doesn't have a clue you're there because you're far enough away. There's a lot of good things happen when you do that kind of fishing.
Yeah, and also, too, in our part of the world, it's a really great tool. Another place you can use it is a great tool for smallmouth fishing.
Oh, for sure. Like come summertime, even on like going down like the Little T here or the Pigeon, or a lot of people will do that on the Tuckasegee right through town. But there's a lot of places where that can come back into play using figure of eights and just all the different, snake rolls, snap T, snap C's, Z cast, A cast. It just goes on and on. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun thinking about, well, how am I going to do this one? And then once people get familiar with that, what's really fun about it is when they're starting to do it and they're not thinking about any of the deliveries. So in other words, they don't have a favorite when they just running through a whole module of 8 or 9 of them whenever it hits them, they just do it. That's kind of the zen, I think, of the whole trout spey, switch cast, spey cast, whatever we call it. I mean, they're all the same, they're all the same motions. So once that is kind of in place, I think it makes it real rewarding for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to back up a little bit, why don't you give us the 30,000-foot view of how the Denver show was for you and how Bellevue was, and then we'll talk about the last 2 shows that are coming up.
Okay. Yeah, Denver was really, really busy. I didn't really have a whole lot of free time to go even through the floor. But I don't know the numbers. I heard some of them that worked the show talked about like 18,000 that was in Denver. So that was a really good turnout. That's still the biggest show. I'm sure it's the biggest show on planet Earth. So it was just so many people of different ages that are enthusiastic and excited to be there and excited to, go around and see all the things educationally, as well as all the different booths about, exotic trips. And the thing I like about Denver too, you see a lot of young people. There's a whole lot of young people that show up in Denver, and that's a win-win, to see people in their 30s and 40s and excited about it. And that was a great course. The classes and everything were really busy in Denver, and so was Bellevue. Saturday was a real good day in Bellevue, and we had a good time. Did a distance class that evening, met a little girl, flew in from Beijing, China. I think that's the first time that's ever happened to me. Someone's come from that far away just for the 2.5-hour class. And it was a distance class, and she was a real talented young lady. And about an hour into it, she starts bombing out 95-foot cast over the end, just one after the other. She was real trainable. And so that's exciting. I think she stayed one more day, went up to Whistler to snowboard on Sunday, and she flew back to China today. So she came for 2 days to do those two things. So that was kind of exciting to meet somebody that would have come that far away to spend time in a class with,
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's, they've got, I guess, got a week off, and then I guess in about 10 days or so, you're going to fly out to Pleasanton, right?
Yep. The next up is Pleasanton, California, and looking to get that one going we go out early for the all-day class again, with Gary. And right now is not a whole lot. I don't think there's many signed up in it, so I'm going to plug that a lot this week on social media. It's a tough sale out there because you got Oakland and Golden Gate both, and they teach free on every Saturday, so then people think, well, why would I pay money if I can go there? So it's a little bit tougher to sell that in that city,
Yeah, got it. And then, after Pleasanton, we've got a little bit of a break. And then I guess, what is it, the second weekend in March, you and I will be together in Lancaster.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Lancaster. That's a good vibe, too, for that show. I really like Lancaster show. You get a lot of the folks from all over, the PA, and there's just a lot of, I think it's a lot of young people that show up always at Lancaster, too. It's a little smaller show, of course, than Denver, but the people that are there really want to be there. And they're enthusiastic at all the presentations and seminars in the classroom. And, they're pretty enthusiastic bunch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny. So I'm actually going to fish my way to you. I'm actually going to steelhead fish on the alley for 3 or 4 days and then come to Lancaster for the show. So I'll see you there. And I'm excited, I guess Ben just recently released the class schedule, and I'll be teaching Saturday morning my, 4 seasons in the trout, right? You remember this from last year, trout, food, and you.
Right.
So I'll be doing that at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning in the catch room. And then, the introductory class that you and I worked on that I taught in Edison, I'm going to offer that again. I think it's from 2 to 4:30 on Saturday. So super excited. I think some folks have already been signing up, but to your point, I'll be doing the exact same thing on social media and in the newsletter and everything, getting the word out. And it'll be great to see folks.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. Then we get back and we go right into school mode. So we got a school, I think, right after Lancaster, like a few days, right, just a few days after it. So then that's a 5-day school. Then we're right back into season. So I'm looking forward to getting all that started.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, it's at least you were able to steal a few days to fish for yourself. And, I'll drop links to the show notes with the fly fishing show stuff. But for folks that want to get in touch for either any of your guide schools, skill classes, casting lessons, guide trips, any of that good stuff, where should they go?
The easiest one, probably Mac Brown Fly Fish, and it'll take you to the guide school page or the other programs here, like the 2-day casting schools. And there's a lot of 2 and 3-day schools through the year, like on specifically just on wet fly, just on dry fly. And a lot of times that's more convenient for people that have a real 9 to 5. That's why we do a lot more of those on the weekend. Because a lot of them, can't do it during the week. So we don't want to make them dig in their vacation, Marvin, to come do it during the weekday, So yeah, they can find all those dates on the website under specialty classes in the menu.
Absolutely. Folks, it's actually, we're going to come out of the deep freeze for a little bit. I think we're going to actually have a pretty warm week in the mid-Atlantic, and then it's going to start to cool off again, but nothing like, it has been for the last, 4 to 6 weeks, but, which means it's a good opportunity, to get out there on these warmer days, check the water temperature. Things start to warm up in the water. The air may be comfortable, but the water still might be cold, but you're going to start to be able to kind of sneak out there and kind of catch these, warmer late winter days and catch a few trout.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's one thing I thought of out there in Bellevue after it was so cold. when we went west, it was down single digits at night here, like 0 to 2 degrees every night. I thought, man, I wish I was home as soon as it warms up, 40, 50 degree day. It's going to be epic. And I think that's what happened when I was gone, because it warmed up. It was 65 when I flew in today into Asheville. So I'm sure there's been some really good activity there on the water with that kind of warm up.
Yeah, well, I got a few nice ones last week on the Watauga, so I can't complain. But, folks, if it's cold where you are and you can't fish, tie some flies. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Mac.
Tight lines, Marvin.